Hey, what's going on, you guys? What's up? My name's Barbarian, and welcome to another story time with Barbie. Guys, it has been a long time since I've even uploaded a video. That is because I've lost my voice. In fact, I'm just barely getting it back. You might notice I'm a bit more raspy than usual. My apologies. Try and bear with me as I try and get through this video. We absolutely destroyed the like goal of 1,000 likes in the last episode, and I promise you guys, if we hit that goal, I'd talk to you about the different times I've gotten sent down to the principal's office. I told you about the time I got suspended, but there's been plenty of other times that I've just gotten off with a detention or even just a warning, and some of them are pretty funny, so I figured I'd share those with you. Now, before we begin, I want to let you guys know that I am doing another like goal of 1,500 likes. If we can do that, I'll pick another comment from the comment section and do a story time on that. I've got 3 stories for you today, and they're all pretty funny, so I'm going to try and share them each to you one by one. The first time I got sent down to the principal's office, well, not really the first time, but the first funny time I can think of was at the middle of 7th grade, around December, maybe January-ish, right around the middle year. So I wasn't really mature yet, I was still in the prime of my middle school years, and I hadn't really realized that if I just matured a little bit, my life would be a lot easier. Now, in my school, we had this thing called SSR at the end of the day. It was Sustained Silent Reading. At the end of the day, you were supposed to sit back, relax, and read a favorite book of yours, or even just a magazine, something to kind of get kids in the habit of reading to calm down, relax, and kind of end off the day. Obviously, being in middle school, I myself was a big reader. However, in SSR, I didn't like to read because all my friends were around me. I wanted to have fun. I didn't want to be sitting there reading a good book. So, what I was doing was, I was actually making sure I sat next to my best friend, Nick Duva, and we kind of messed around a little bit. We used to, play pranks on the teacher, throw spitballs, different things like that. It's all been, it was a lot of crazy, immature stuff. But one day, we had a substitute teacher, and we decided to push things a little bit farther than we probably should have. We took our hats and our coats and our bags out of our lockers so we could run to our bus really quickly after school, and we ended up trying to put on all the stuff to go home right then. Now remember, this is in December/January-ish, so we have a lot of coats, hats, things like that. We decided to put our hats on and pretend we were taking a nap, and the teacher was not really that enthused. She actually told us that if we don't take our hats off, she's gonna write us up. Now, being the smart middle schoolers that we were, we didn't take our hats off, and lo and behold, she wrote us up. I ended up getting an extended day detention, which was 3 hours, because I couldn't sit there for 15 minutes and read. That was not one of my brightest moments. The next story I have actually takes place in 7th grade, but at the end of the year, the very last day of school, in fact. Now, the last day of school in my school, we don't really do anything. We usually just sit around in our homerooms, kind of, say our last goodbyes to all our friends for the summer, and then we go off on our merry way. In my case, we were playing a card game called BS, and if you guys haven't played BS, it's a really fun card game, but I'm not going to explain it now, so if you need to, look it up if you want to know. It's not really that big a deal. It doesn't really pertain to the story. So, my friend Corey was playing BS, and he had the cards there, and I was leaning over his shoulder, pretending to say his cards out loud. Obviously, I was saying random cards, but he didn't really notice that right away. All he heard was me saying cards out loud and looking over his shoulder, so he assumed I was trying to, mess him up. I was trying to screw him over. So, he stood up, and he started punching me, and he started pushing me into the desk, and he was just trying to get me to stop. Honestly, I think he just got a little bit pissed off and a little bit embarrassed that I kind of made him so angry. So he was pushing me and punching me, and all of a sudden, my teacher walks in, and I tell you guys, I have never heard a teacher scream this loud when she screamed at me and Corey, and she sent us down to the office quicker than I've ever been sent before, right then and there, and we actually were in the office waiting when I looked over at Corey, and I noticed that he was panicking. If you don't know Corey, you don't know that his mom is actually extremely strict. I'm talking the strictest person you have ever seen. So when he was in the office, he was thinking about his mom and what she was gonna do, and it was probably gonna be a bad situation for everybody. So I was thinking to myself, I've been in trouble a lot. It doesn't really matter what happens to me. I don't really care. So let me take the fall for Corey. So when we were waiting in those chairs, I went in first to the principal's office, and I told him, I said, listen, Corey didn't even punch me. I punched him. He was just trying to push me onto the desk to get me to stop. He didn't even throw a first punch. He didn't do anything. And I think the principal really knew that I wasn't the one who started it, because Corey, I'm pretty sure, went in there and confessed to the entire thing. but the principal decided to let me take the fall for it since I wanted to, and it wasn't really that big of a deal. He actually didn't even write me up. He didn't give me a detention or anything. He just made me sit in his office the rest of the day, so I sat there for like 3 hours. It wasn't really that big a deal, and then we went on our merry way. So that's the second time I've actually gotten in trouble, and it wasn't even my fault that time. Now, the third time happened freshman year in high school. It's actually the only time I've gotten in trouble in high school for something that actually, happened that was my fault. So it was high school health class. It was a teacher called Mrs. McQuaid, and we used to really run the show in her classroom. She really didn't have much control over her class. We even called her by her first name just to be funny, and honestly, it was kind of just a joke in that class. Now, I'm not saying that she had some silly rules, but she had this rule of no eating in her classroom, and she was the only class that had that rule. Everywhere else in my school, you're allowed to eat food in class. It's just something that our school allows. And I had really gotten in the habit of eating during third period, which is when I had health class. Unfortunately for Miss McQuaid, she did not want me to eat, and she kept taking my bag of Cheerios, which is my go-to snack during the day. Of course, being the, young, mischievous person who hadn't quite matured into a high schooler yet, person that I am, I ended up army crawling across the floor behind all the desks and onto her desk to grab those Cheerios, bring them back, army crawl on my stomach and elbows, all the way back to my desk, and I'd keep eating them. And this would repeat 2 or 3 times a class until one day I got called down to the principal's office for being written up by her for eating Cheerios in class. Now, the principal actually did not even read the write-up slip. He just called me down and said he had a referral slip, and then he read it off to me, and he was really confused because he didn't understand how anyone could be written up for eating Cheerios in a classroom. He didn't understand how that was any sort of against the rules or anything. So at the end of the day, he actually ripped up the referral slip, and I got to walk back with a big grin on my face to Miss McQuaid and let her know that I got nothing for her little referral slip. So that was kind of a cool moment for me. I really think that I probably should have gotten in trouble, but I didn't. So that's always kind of funny. But guys, those are the 3 stories that I think are the funniest of when I've gotten written up and such. Now, there was one other time that was a little bit bigger of a story. It's when I tweeted F off at the principal on Twitter. If you guys haven't heard that story, you want to hear it, then feel free to hit that like. If we can hit 1,500 likes, I promise you I will post that as the next story time. So guys, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, my name's Barbarian. Peace out.